Morning, afternoon, or evening, guys, wherever you are in this COVID infested world where we're all vermin and we all need to be wiped out because the climate is changing and humans are dirty and diseased. In all seriousness, I hope you're all well. Hope you're doing okay wherever you are and things are not so intense. I'm going to brighten things up, or at least try and brighten things up a bit today with another New Age review video. I get a lot of requests now, many people sending me suggestions, and many people that used to be in the New Age also sending me suggestions as well. So it's really good that people are mature enough to listen to what I'm saying, discern what I'm saying, and really reevaluate things. And so credit to you guys for doing that. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, or consider subscribing, at least liking, commenting. It all helps trigger the algorithms, even if you dislike the video. So it all helps me, it all helps spread the message of the awakening, from the awakening, and New Age BS. So without further ado, I'm going to get into today's video. I have my New Age sick bucket here, just in case, because you never know when you're going to need it with these people. And I try and find large channels for obvious reasons, because a lot of, well, they have a big following, and really sort of examining why that is. And I stumbled upon one this morning when I was doing my research, which, as I've said to you guys many times before, it can be quite painful. And I stumbled across this lady called Christina Lopes. She's got these initials after her name, DPT MPH. Not sure what they stand for, but makes her sound very educated, but she's actually quite new agey. I've not come across her before, but she's got like 400,000 subscribers, so she's obviously drawing them in from somewhere. So she's today going to speak about the idea of ascension, which is very integral to the New Age, this idea that you somehow get to choose what timeline you're on just by what you think or focus on, and or your vibrational state and how high and happy you are, and the idea that if you focus or acknowledge, or maybe consider doing something about the negativity going on in this world, then you are somehow choosing a 3D timeline, and you are not going to ascend like the rest of them onto 5D, where you will float away on your unicorn forever into the new earth. So the idea of ascension symptoms is really BS anyway, because more likely they're probably poor diet or electromagnetic frequency symptoms, or anything to do with any of the other BS that's being pushed on humanity right now. So I think talking of ascension symptoms gives people a good way to bypass perhaps maybe a change of diet, or maybe looking at areas of their life that they've not worked on, or again, it's just another good excuse for people to just blame it on something easy, and not take responsibility for their physical ailments that they're experiencing. So anyway, let's see what she has to say, and we'll break it down. So
do you still get ascension symptoms, and do they ever stop? I've been on my journey a very long time, and it's gotten pretty wild.
One thing to note is that people are asking these questions like this woman has actually ascended. You find with a lot of these New Age gurus that they talk down to their audience, and there's a very skewed relationship, almost like that typical guru, follower, savior kind of energy, whereby people are asking questions, and this lady has all the answers, like she's already there in 5D, sitting cross-legged under a tree singing Kumbaya. So the energy of it all straight away is very almost like beggy, saviory kind of. Oh, please tell us how we ascend, us mere mortals. So
So there's good news and bad news when it comes to answering this question. And the first one is that, do ascension symptoms ever stop? I don't know if they ever stop completely because we're in a.
See, the idea of ascension as well, I mean, it's great because it can last for however long you want it to last for. So in 2 or 3 years' time, when people are still feeling like rubbish and, dropping down from all the stuff that's going on, these people can just turn around and keep saying that, we're ascending, we're going into the age of Aquarius. So it really is good because you can keep the lie going for however long you want.
Constant state of flow, and we're in a constant state of evolution, and especially at the start of this age of officially this age of Aquarius. And I would say that the age of Aquarius started at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. So
they love talking about the different ages of Aquarius and Pisces and all this stuff. It really ties into all the new age buzzwords out there to hook people in. Like, we're moving into the age of Aquarius now, so we can just relax. The energies are changing, the energies are shifting. It's like all these eclipses and full moons, and we had the Lion's Gate. Nothing ever happens. It's still the same. We're still enslaved. All these different things that's supposed to happen. Planetary. It just. Nothing ever materializes, so they love to talk about it though, because it just glamorizes everything.
Into this 2021, into this new energy, things are accelerating a little bit more. So sometimes it can feel like we're being torn apart, especially physically, mentally also. The physical body really gets hammered a lot with these accelerated energies that are moving upward really fast now. And it's giving the body a little bit less time to adjust. So it can feel like your body is being torn apart.
A lot of these people, probably their energy feels bad is because they're infested with new age false white light beings that are siphoning off their energy as well.
Really, with these ascension processes. So do the ascension symptoms ever stop? I don't know that they ever stop, but the good news is that
they only stop when you're in the new earth, obviously.
They get less and less severe, and that's
okay. Thank you.
Definitely happened in my own life. So
in her own life, when she ascended all those years back.
When I had my spiritual awakening, I had my spiritual awakening, and then a year later I had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening, and I had a really
Great. She was dealing with serpent energy as well. Wonderful.
Difficult Kundalini awakening. So I went through a lot of physical symptoms, nothing like disease. I was never diagnosed with a disease or anything like that, but I went through a lot of difficult symptoms during that Kundalini awakening. Sometimes I was so tired that I couldn't even walk up the stairs to get in my house. I just felt like I was 100 years old, and so there were
hardcore ascending.
Various symptoms that were going on. So I would say that the first 2 to 3 years of my spiritual awakening were very difficult in terms of the physical part of it. I lost a ton of weight, but it wasn't an unhealthy loss of weight. It's just I lost so much weight that I had been carrying for so long in my life due to the trauma and stuff that was unhealed. And as my body started to shed and to go into the ascension process,
she didn't have to do anything to heal that trauma. She just waited for the energies to change, and then she lost all this body fat.
I really did have, I had pretty severe physical symptoms, mental symptoms also, sometimes anxiety. So I had a lot of ascension symptoms, I would say the first 2 to 3 years, and then things started to calm down a little bit. I think you get to a threshold where your body can now house enough light that even if a little bit more light comes in.
These people, they love to think that they're anchoring light down onto the planet just by doing nothing. It really is vomit fest. Actually, I think I might need to use this in a moment. But, it's just ego as well. It's like these people just think that they're here and they're anchoring all this light. And there is a nugget of truth in that theory. But you don't anchor light by just sitting there doing nothing and just waiting to ascend and keeping your vibes high, in actual fact, you become part of the problem because you're not participating in this spiritual warfare that we're involved in. You're just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. So it really makes me laugh when these people, these light workers, think that they're anchoring all this light just by doing nothing and just sitting there. So the real true anchorers of light are the people that are, speaking their truth. They're having difficult conversations. They're doing deep inner work. They're keeping their physical body healthy, keeping their working on their emotions, keeping their energy clean. All these different things. The people that are really anchoring the light will face the darkness, not ignore it. So these New Agers and light workers love this idea that they're anchoring the light. It really sort of feeds into their ego. When, as I say, of course, they're not doing anything, and they're essentially making it worse.
Then the body isn't going to completely fall apart on you. Whereas in the beginning of the spiritual
can you imagine anchoring so much light that your arms fall off?
Awakening, when you're first getting bombarded with those initial light codes and you're really going into that ascension process, sometimes it can be hard for the body to adjust to those new levels of light. And so the adjustment
I'm carrying too much light, my body's going to explode.
Process during your first ascensions, and I say that in plural because it's not just one ascension process. Usually what happens.
Wonderful. It's not just one ascension. You're going to ascend many, many different times. So imagine how long she can keep this BS going for. Well, it's not. 10 years later, it might not be the first ascension. You're now into your second ascension now. So, you have to look out for symptoms around that.
Happens is you go through an accelerated rate of ascension, and then there's a pause. Maybe there's a pause for a month or a week or a year, whatever it is. There's a little bit of a pause, and then boom, another ascension process occurs, and
boom, more light codes. Just hit with the light codes.
You go through another round of ascension and you may exhibit some symptoms. So it's not always linear. It's usually ascension and then a little bit of stopping, and then ascension, a little bit of pausing. And so for me, and for
is she actually speaking live from the New Earth right now?
I think pretty much everyone that I've worked with, I don't think I've ever encountered anyone in my work that has had severe ascension symptoms constantly nonstop for years on end. It's usually this ascension symptoms, and then, oh, okay, my body feels good. I'm starting to feel good. Oh, great. Okay. And then ascension symptoms.
Maybe it's just fibromyalgia.
A little bit, but they start to get less severe. In my experience, they start to get less severe the more that your body goes up in frequency.
Maybe they got on that rainbow bridge that Jerry Sargent speaks about, and so the light codes were easier for them to carry across to the New Earth, and so then their ascension symptoms became lighter. I think that's what it might be. I think it might be the rainbow bridge.
The more easily it deals with light, and so the changes are a little bit less severe. Do I still get ascension symptoms now? I would say yes, I do, but they're pretty light, and I could rebound from them.
Rebound the light codes. Obviously, she's already ascended. Of course, her symptoms are going to be light, no?
Pretty quickly. Usually what I do when I'm having ascension symptoms now, when was the last time that I could say I had ascension symptoms? Probably around December. And it had...
Don't tell me, the light codes were really strong then and they were hitting you really hard.
To do with the fact that I was working a lot. I was recording my premium coaching program, Hard Alchemy.
Oh, so you were stressed. It wasn't ascension symptoms, you were actually busy and you were stressed, which would cause natural responses within the body.
And I was in the studio a lot, and so I was really tired, but at the same time I knew I was going through an ascension process at that time. And so that process itself, it wasn't as severe as it was in my initial spiritual awakening, but it was still a little bit tiring. But I think too, as you're walking on your spiritual path, you learn what things work for you, what practices work for you.
Yeah, in that arena, nothing. Nothing works because it's all a crock of shit.
What what meditation works for you, all of
false highs, of course. You need your false highs, you need your meditations and your self-affirmations to try and trick yourself into feeling better.
these different things because you're experienced now. Whereas when I started my spiritual awakening, I didn't know what the heck to do to make my symptoms feel better because I didn't even know half of the time what the heck was happening to me. I was kind of a rookie in spiritual matters. And so it
now she's at guru level.
took a little bit of experience of learning through experience what worked for me.
It's just I just hate, like I say, I hate that energy of just like talking down to people like that. It's just crazy to me.
What didn't, what made my body calm down, what was better for the symptoms and what wasn't. And so then once you start to learn what works for you, then you could deploy those strategies later on when you're having ascension symptoms as you're more mature and more kind of more experienced on the spiritual path. So
imagine phoning up at work, I can't come in today because I've got ascension symptoms.
So if you know, I kind of feel bad for the person that submitted this question because it's you know, she's probably going through a difficult time right now with this.
Too many light codes, light code overdose. That's what's going on with her.
Ascension symptoms, but just know that this is temporary, that the ascension symptoms, you're going to get much better at dealing with them. Your body is going to get adjusted, and so the ascension symptoms will kind of trickle as you move forward on your path. Just get really good at experimenting. What practices work for you? How can you move energy to help your body? What can you do to help your body kind of ascend with the least amount of symptoms?
I'm all ears. What do you recommend?
Example, you know, does my body like bubble baths with Epsom salts? Does my body like it when I go
lay in the bath and your ascension symptoms will just evaporate?
When I go swimming in the ocean in colder water? Experiment on yourself and find those things and those practices that really work to help you. We're all unique, so the practices that I used.
She hasn't mentioned raising vibrations yet, though. It's really, this is an anomaly because we're nearly towards the end of the video and we've not heard vibrations once and we've not heard the word consciousness once. So.
May not be appropriate for other people, but the experimenting is wonderful because then you kind of find out the things that work for you, and then when the next round of ascension symptoms comes in, you'll be ready.
Round two.
But again, the good news, as you're moving along your spiritual path, the more you're moving energy, the more you're surrendering to the ascension process, the symptoms start to
Have you noticed they use that word a lot, surrender, you know? Surrender to your ascension symptoms, surrender to any negativity that you had in your life, just accept, just put up with it, just surrender to evil, just surrender to everything.
Decrease more and more and more until pretty soon, I don't know if I would, sometimes I don't even call them ascension symptoms anymore. I'll feel when there's a little bit of an energy shift, I'll feel it immediately. Sometimes I'll just, you know, go take a shower, cleanse my energy. Sometimes I just meditate. Sometimes I dance. Sometimes I go to the beach. I have different strategies that I use. Sometimes I just sleep. I sleep more. So it's simple strategies, nothing elaborate. But I'll know right away to deploy those strategies right away when I'm having those ascension symptoms, and they go away pretty quickly. Right. So that's the good news. They're going to become lighter, yeah. And they won't even bother you. You won't even call them ascension symptoms anymore.
And then you'll just be there. Well, there you go, guys. It's quite a short one, but the whole idea of ascension, like I say, absolute BS. All the New Agers love it because it allows them to bypass the real work that needs to be done right now. It allows them to stay in that energy of cowardice again because they can feel like they're doing something without actually doing something. Yeah, just the same kind of repackaged BS, light codes, anchoring the light. You know, all this kind of talk, which really doesn't get anyone any further down the path. The only good thing she said was maybe taking showers and getting out into nature, but that's got nothing to do with ascension or anything like that. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Like I say, if you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing, liking, and I'll be back soon with another New Age review video and the New Age Chic Bucket. So take care, guys. Speak to you soon.